Good evening, York fans, and welcome back to In the Know, brought to you by the Racing Post and Coral. I'm Ross Brierley, and like this show, today was all about top quality content. After the Ballydoyle boys sent another Galileo 3-year-old to win the Yorkshire Oaks, and Ryan Moore, to be fair, let himself down a bit today. Only did a double on the day after yesterday's treble, but he was in a good nick as well with a win for Richard Hannon. Ed Walker had a nice day as well with a Group 2 and listed double, and Clive Cox made it look easy, taking home £250,000 for the second time in 2 years, winning the big sales race. And it's the time for the sprinters tomorrow, of course. Another rematch, Big Evs versus Avsora, taking each other on once again. But do they have bad draws to contend with? And the very fast furlong, 5 furlongs over the Nunthorpe trip is often a race that can throw up all sorts of results. We'll be getting stuck into that. There's plenty more to get excited about as well. And we are, of course, live and interactive. So if you're on the chat box right now, say hello. And if you're watching on YouTube, give the stream a like. Hello to Robert Ballard, Ryan Gledow, to Kevin Hasnip, Vicky Haynes, Destiny Sounds, and a man whose screen name I'm not attempting to pronounce, but he says, how good is Ryan Moore? Well, let's ask tonight's guest pundit. Paul Keeley's sodded off to York, but luckily we've got the one and only Mr. Graeme Rodway, freshly clean shaven. I don't think I've seen your face that fresh for many a year, my good man.
No, everyone tells me I should shave because it makes me look younger. Do you think? Would you agree?
It makes you look younger, but I did like the distinguished beard look. So. Yeah,
it makes me look more wise.
It does.
So it's difficult. You have to balance. You know, whether you want to look young and stupid or old and wise.
That's the question. I mean, and I think I'm stuck in the middle somewhere between that. But that's you can't get wisdom young, can you? No. What did you make of, well, you weren't on last night, so what did you make of York so far?
Yeah, I've enjoyed it. Yeah, it's been good, hasn't it? It's been a bit one-sided. It's a bit like watching Cheltenham, isn't it? Like Aidan O'Brien, Ryan Moore, Aidan O'Brien, Ryan Moore, Aidan O'Brien, Ryan Moore.
The far side of the sprint track, one-sided, but...
Well, he came up the far side on content, didn't he, today, Ryan? But, I don't know, he's just riding a lot of the best horses too, isn't he? I mean, he is a great jockey, but he's riding horses who are in top shape and in their best form, and they're showing it, aren't they, at the moment, those Aidan horses?
They are indeed. Again, yeah, it's... I mean, I guess it's easy if you've got fantastically bred Galileo 3-year-old fillies and mares coming through the ranks every year. You just pick the best one and aim it at this race, right?
It seems to work, doesn't it? I suppose it's probably a bit unfair to say it's easy winning Group 1s, isn't it? I mean, it's not easy, but they make it look easy, don't they?
Yeah.
Every year. And, I must admit that I thought that You Got To Me might confirm that Irish form, but fair enough, content is improving, and she proved herself today.
She did indeed. Let's go to Tom Segal at home, shall we? Albeit, Ryan Moore's having a cracking week, but I feel like he's got a personal vendetta against you, Tom. As when you fancy one of his, you fancied Satin today, didn't you? Never got involved. But everything else he's riding is
I'm pretty sure he's not got a personal vendetta to me. I thought his ride on content or their tactics on content were absolutely 100% spot on, perfect. You got Kieran Showmark to go for home 3 furlongs too soon, sat him on the tail of a strong pace setting thing, and then came through in the end. So look, as we said last night, not only do they have the best bred horses, they're tactically the best as well. So they're hard to beat when it comes to good races.
Yeah, indeed. What was your highlight of today? If it wasn't the feature winner,
Jamie Smith's 50 for England.
Yeah. I have absolutely no idea about cricket in any way, shape, or form, so I'm just going to have to assume that's good.
That's good. Today, obviously, I liked Celandine winning the Lowther. Actually, I just like her. She's not brilliant, but she's just rock solid, isn't she? And look, I don't. You know, you just got to get on the pace at York, haven't you? Unless you can be tempted into going too quick. I think Keels will probably be throwing his 15th pint of Guinness over the floor when we watches back Oisin Murphy in the last. But there we go. You know, these competitive races are on pace and knife edges, and you've just got to get on the right side of them, and then you can find a few quid. If you don't, you're going to have unlucky losers. But I remember you saying, it might be last year, but I don't know. We spent so much
virtual time together, it's kind of all blends into one in my brain. But you've said in the past that York's very much a rhythm track, and that's what you get when you're watching Ryan Moore. He's given his horses the best chance to get into that rhythm at every opportunity. He's
brilliant there. I mean, look, no one can ride Goodwood, can they, or Epsom? Well, Epsom you can, but no one can ride Goodwood because it's complete jam. But York, it's totally about getting your horse rolling at the right time, isn't it? And there's no one better than him. There probably has been no one better than him. Fallon was the same. The two of them on fair, nice, flat tracks. It's all about timing. It's all about getting them rolling, and he is brilliant, undoubtedly, class above.
Absolutely. Speaking of a class above, David Stevens joining us tonight. How are you doing, my good man?
Good evening, Church. Great to be back after my Wednesday sabbatical. Just got to echo everything that's been said. It's been the Ballydor week, isn't it? By my reckoning, Aidan O'Brien is now more than £3 million clear at the top of the Flat Trainers Championship, which means here we are in mid to late August and the Flat Trainers Championship is done and dusted. I mean, that is an incredible achievement. As for Ryan Moore, he's the best jockey riding predominantly the best horses, isn't it? And it's a pleasure to watch. And he's actually Aidan O'Brien's giving the others a chance in tomorrow's Group 1. He hasn't got a runner in the Coolmore sponsored Nunthorpe. So that's very good of Aidan. Give the others a chance, but he does still have good chances in the other group races, including the subject of one of our price boosts for the duration of this live show, Point Lonsdale, to win the aptly named Lonsdale Cup. He's 2-1 favourite to win it, but if you think he can win it by more than one length, he is a 5-1 shot from 7-2. And the other price boost for the duration of this show does concern the feature Nunthorpe Stakes. And it's Asfura, the Aussie mare. She is currently 7-4 to win it, but for the duration of this show, up to a tenner, she's a 5-2 shot.
Okay, lovely stuff. And you must have had a couple of good days at York. If your jumper's anything to go by there, David, are you wearing a Havana grey by the looks of things? If you just move up your jumper slightly, is that? I caught one word. It does say Havana on it, isn't it? Yeah.
It does. Yeah, I don't want to give a plug to the clothing company because they don't pay me. But the sun was shining earlier, but I feel not quite as warm now. But the t-shirt might not have been there. But as for you, Rodders, you do look young. I don't know what your secret is, but you're looking more and more like a young George Clooney every time I see you.
Funnily enough, Dave, that's why we don't wear coral stuff. Because you don't pay us.
Whereas, I mean, if anything, you surely you must have bought Reading Football Club by now. I would have thought, Tom.
I haven't worn a Reading top for about 20 years. Thought I'd wear it today.
Yeah, there you go. Well, fair enough.
Homage to the fact that we haven't been sold yet again.
Is that again? I don't keep up with cricket. My poor brain says no idea about cricket. You call yourself a Yorkshireman. Yeah, I know. I'm absolutely disgraceful. And I'm not keeping up to date with the day-to-day running of Reading Football Club. But it can't be going well, Tom.
Well, they're playing quite well, but everything behind the scenes isn't going that well. But there we go. We'll move on. Let's talk horses, Ross. What are you changing the subject for?
I don't know. I've been distracted by Graeme Rodway's handsome, smooth face. What can I say?
Lack of hair.
Absolutely. Right. Okay. Well, let's get into York, shall we? After this. Download the Racing Post app and get involved on York Day 3. We start off with a 1.5 mile handicap to kick things off, and we've seen some bits and pieces of glorious Goodwood form boosted. We've seen bits and pieces absolutely smashed to smithereens this week. Will Waffey be the former or the latter? 130 favourite for this 1.5 mile handicap. Mr. Monaco is 5-1. Shadow Dance 11-2. Lieber Power 8s. Insanity 10s. Derry Lad is 11s with Yukon Glen. Grey Cuban is a Havana Grey at 12-1. And then bigger prices the rest at far this 1.5 mile handicap, where Waffey is 130 favourite after maybe a slightly unfortunate defeat on handicap debut at Glorious Goodwood. Assailant got first run, switched out and rattled at home. That said, this is a fairly small sample size, Rodders, but 3-year-olds, 11 of them have had a crack in the last 10 years. Only one's placed, none of them have won, and it is a race that often goes to you're slightly more experienced middle distance grinder rather than your exposed 3-year-olds. But like I said, small sample size.
Yeah, apparently so. Yeah, I mean, I had a look at the trends earlier because Kevin Wally's actually away at the moment, so I was helping to deputise for him. And I think 4-year-olds have won 9 of the last 10, haven't they? And 5-year-old won it once. Is that right?
I think the 5-year-old was.
So yeah, what you're saying is true, essentially.
Yeah. And obviously the market always, in these kind of races, always goes crazy for the unexposed youngster.
Yeah, I mean, whether it really matters or not at the end of the day, I suppose, is the question. I mean, there might not have been a good 3-year-old run. I don't know. I don't remember this race too often. Mr. Monaco was very impressive, wasn't he, when he won at Sandown last time? It was a really good time, and he made all the running, bolted up. But he has gone up £7. He's won the 3-year-olds. The other one's Wafay. I didn't see his run at Goodwood because I've been away, and I missed a lot of Goodwood, unfortunately. But I did watch it back on the replay. Looks like it'll improve. I was of the mind to take them all on though. I like Key Tao. There's a really big price. I think he's about 33s on in this. Each way, I think Corals have given us 4 places, so I think he's got a really good chance of being in the 4. I mean, his last 6 RPRs, 85, 87, 88, 86, 81, 86. He's super consistent. He'll be bang up there. It's been the place to be, hasn't it, all week, prominent. He goes well on fast ground. He's run really well in 2 big handicaps around this track. He was beaten into 5th beyond Ron O off a mark of 84 here early in the year. He's down to 81 now. He's only beaten 5 lengths that day. You know, if he runs to, 85, 87, 88, 86, if he runs to around there, I think he'd definitely be in the 4. And who knows?
He's a big price as well, isn't he?
Maybe
33
a win.
to 1. Yeah.
So yeah, a big price, 33s each way. Kitao.
Okay, there you go. Graeme Rodway going for the outside of the bunch. Kitao at 33s for Charlie Johnston and Joe Fanning. Tom Segal again. You're definitely not a trends man, but I also don't think you're backing a 133-year-old favourite in a York Handicap man either. So I'm hoping for something interesting in this.
I found it really difficult. I thought, as you say, I mean, it's a bit like the one today, wasn't it? El Najm. That was obviously a more competitive race than this, but you're asking to take a very short price about a horse that's got to do more than he's done before. Now, he was unlucky or I'm not even sure he was unlucky, but he looked like he was ill at ease on the track at Goodwood. So he obviously, Wafai can go and win. Of course he can. But I thought Mr. Monaco actually had better form of the 3-year-olds. I was quite impressed with him at Sandown last time. He'd also won the well there a couple of times before, and his form stacks up quite well. So of the 2, I like that. The one I like most would be Shadow Dance, but I'm slightly worried about, needs to rain for him, I think. And there is rain forecast overnight. How much they get, who knows. But I thought he should have won really at Ripon last time. It might have been the track, but I love that form. I know Satin let me down badly today, but I love that form of the Newmarket last year. I think he's a horse that's on the up. He's getting better, so I'd side with him. You can definitely make a case for the old boy Yukon Glen running well, but unlike everyone else, I think that Goodwood form is absolutely rubbish from last time. And so I don't know. About 10 of them finished within half a length of each other, didn't they? So if he comes back, he could easily. I mean, he's well handicapped now. And Derry Ladd is another one. I mean, I don't know what happened at Galway last time. Maybe it was the soft ground. Who knows? But he was tailed off last that day. But if you go back to his Epsom run, he was really unlucky that day. Has form on fast ground. Won at Pontefract last year on fast ground. So he could bounce back. So I'm with the older brigade. If there's rain, I'll be on Shadow Dance. If not, I'll be looking at Derry Ladd and Yukon Glen to run well.
Okay. I mean, he'd had 2 months off, hadn't he, Derry Ladd? So maybe it was a pipe opener for this.
Tailed off, wasn't he, Ross? I mean, I don't mind pipe. This is what I don't. I mean, I'm absolutely hopeless at this, and it's probably a wider point for Rodders and you. I'm useless at forgiveness. Yeah. Well, I don't mind if you finish 12th, or I don't mind if you finish 10th and you show something. But when you finish tailed off last, you've got to be. You can't, it's really hard for me with my mindset to look at that race and go, gee, I want to back him next time when he goes to York. I don't want to be anywhere near him. But he could bounce back because he's definitely got the form to. So, at the price, you might throw a few quid at him.
You've been married for decades, haven't you, Tom? Surely you must have got forgiveness down to a pat now. I mean,
down to a T.
Yeah, that's absolutely. It's either you can be right or you can be married, isn't it, Tom? You two. So
that's it. I've got it. I've got that bit sus. Horses, I'm struggling with.
Right, okay. Speaking of marriage, I thought Insanity was a little bit interesting as well.
Aren't you getting married soon?
I am married, yeah.
Oh, you're married already?
Yeah, I am married, yeah, but...
You've already gone insane, haven't you?
I've already... I mean, we were mad when we met, so it's only one way, isn't it, really? But he ran... it was not the Melrose, it was the autumn Melrose, as it were, behind Lordship in soft ground last year and didn't quite get home, but he ran really well for a long way, and his form this year is absolutely bomb-proof. He got beat by a really unexposed 3-year-old from Andrew Balding with Mount Atlas at Ascot, where he was a bit unfortunate to get chinned, and I like the way he battled on it in the Segal Cup last time out. I'm struggling to see 4 places 10-1. I thought he'd run an absolute blinder. Again, that improving 4-year-old, Alan King, Ross Orion as well. What a combination! I thought Insanity at 10-1 was a pretty good each way bet. Mr. David Stevens.
Yeah, to confirm, it is 4 places each way on this. I'm with you on Insanity, and look, it's a race where you can make a case for plenty. Typically competitive sort of race we've seen all week. But Liber Power was the other one I'd give a chance to. He's in great form. He won't mind if it stays firm. He was a close second on good firm last time. He's got form on softer if it does rain. I'd say he's in good form. He'll be up £4 in future. So Liber Power, another one at an each way price.
Okay, thank you very much. Shadow Dancer, a simple, easy start for Darren Collins tomorrow. And somebody, who was it? Disney Account says Derry Lad is worth a punt at 11-1. Okay, that's the opener at York tomorrow. We're up in trip to the Lonsdale Cup. And is it going to be a case of nominative determinism with Point Lonsdale at 2-1? Vauban is 3-1, Gregory 9-2, Al Sakib is 9-1, Night Sparkle 10s, Align the Stars is 11-1, Quickthorn 12s, Al Nair is 22-1, and Tashkan is here for what must be at the age of 6, I don't know, his 500th crack at a stay-in race. He just keeps on turning up. They don't quite drop for him, but he keeps on turning up. But of course, this goes to old friends, the likes of Coltrane, the likes of Quickthorn and Stradivarius over the years. Got a few old friends, maybe some new friends in here, Tom. And if you're still looking at that Shadow Dance form from the back end of last year, the one horse I thought I was going to follow this year was the winner in the shape of Al Sakib, and he's coming into this off the back of what I thought was a pretty cosy win.
Yeah, it was a cosy win. It was a lot worse race than this, wasn't it? But he's got course form, and he's won a group race, and he's getting better, and what's not to like? He's going to go well, isn't he? It's just whether he's good enough. The question is I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. He could be, because there's doubts about all the others, and then Vauban's got to come back from a really, really moderate effort last time, I thought. But he's very classy, as we know from the Gold Cup. Point Lonsdale, is he going to stay the trip, is the question. I actually backed him to win the Gold Cup. So I think he will stay the trip. He obviously never ran in there, but he's got proper, classy mile-and-a-half form in Group 1 races, and those horses tend to win these races. They tend to go up in trip, and they tend to stay because they're doing things easier than they should be. So I'd give him a big shot. Gregory, I don't know. I thought he was better at Goodwood last time. He was really, really rubbish in the Gold Cup, wasn't he? I don't know what happened that day, but he was a lot better at Goodwood. Kept on really well, actually. He looked like he was going to drop away. And like he did in the Yorkshire Cup here at the start of the season, he kept on well. So I give him a chance. Don't fancy Align the Stars at all. Quickthorn will have to get one of those special Tom Marquand specials, won't he? I don't think they'll let him do that. So I found this really... I mean, I will have a few quid on Al Sakib, as you pointed, just because he's the most solid one of the... I think in terms of track and recent form and stuff, and he's double the price of all the others, but I'm not totally convinced. I think Point Lonsdale might win for them, for Ryan and Maiden.
Okay, Point Lonsdale is 2-1 shot, yeah. Al Sakib, I mean, had one Kingman run this week. Celandine made all the running, rattled off the fast ground. I don't know, I just like he's improving, peaking at the right time. I thought he had a little bit of a chance. I mean, Vauban's the funny one in here because, like I said, people have been. I think I hear someone tip me this horse for a race. I think every month, and you could spin a wheel and it could be any race, and it would probably go on for 12 months through the jump season as well. Yeah. But he's still not winning them, is he?
No, because he travels so well, doesn't he? He travels like a class act, and you think, oh, it's a matter of time before he clicks, and then the next time comes along, the same thing happens again. I mean, I've got half a feeling they're running him over the wrong trip, you know. I just think he wants an absolute out-and-out, real fast-run race because the way he travels, he's such a powerful traveller. You know, I'd be tempted to drop him back to a mile and a half or even a mile and a quarter.
Yeah.
So just so he gets that pace.
he's won group, you know, he won over a mile and a half, didn't he, at Naas in soft ground. And, yeah, you're right. I mean, do you think they've got into that trap of, well, he's a hurdler, so he must be a stayer?
I'm not saying he doesn't stay. I think he stays, but I think he needs a real out-and-out gallop. And you don't often get that in a lot of staying races. A lot of them are slowly run, and it's about quickening up at the end of it.
Yeah.
However, having said that, he might get that here because Quickthorn's in the race, and once a year he absolutely blasts everything apart and blows races apart.
Yeah.
But he can only do it once or twice a year, can't he?
Yeah.
He did it in this race 2 years ago. He did it at Goodwood last year. You know, he was 16 lengths ahead at Goodwood last year, halfway, and he won by 6. This race, like 2 years ago, 12 lengths ahead at halfway, he won by 14.
Yeah.
You know, he is capable once a year or twice a year of producing the most ridiculous displays of front running, and I wonder if this might be the day. I mean, they didn't try it last time at Sandown. They stuck him in second. I wonder if this might be the day they try it, especially with 2 potential non-stayers at the top of the market, Vauban and Point Lonsdale. I mean, Point Lonsdale's by far the best horse in the race, no doubt about it, but does he really stay? We'll find out.
We will find out. He's full brother to Broome, isn't he?
And he stayed.
He did stay, but again, he's another one of those horses, Broome, you could run him in over any trip in any race, and he'd kind of run the same race, and every now and then it would drop right for him. So maybe Point Lonsdale might be one of those horses.
And he looked like he'd stay at Chester. I mean, I suppose the worry is that Quickthorn goes out there and tries to blast them all apart in the way that he did at Goodwood and York 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And it turns into an absolute dour test of stamina, and then the old slow boat Gregory starts running on from nowhere and absolutely destroys them inside the fight. I mean, I can see any sort of scenario in this race.
Yeah.
If they decide they're not going to try and blast it apart with Quickthorn, they might go really slow, and Point Lonsdale will have too much speed for them. I just don't know what's going to happen. I have to tip in this race because I rate all these stayers, and I tip Point Lonsdale because he's the best horse in the race, and if they go slow, he'll definitely win. But if Quickthorn goes out and blows it apart and wins by 15 lengths, that wouldn't surprise me. If Gregory outstays him, that wouldn't surprise me. If Vauban wins it on the bit, that wouldn't surprise me. It's an absolute puzzle.
Okay, well, I'm glad you mentioned the one horse that I fancy. Oh, you didn't mention the one horse that I fancy, the same of Alsakim, so that would surprise Graeme Rodway. What about you, David Stevens? What would surprise you in this race?
I'm interested from Tom and Graeme. No love at all for Align the Stars, who's been in great form. Obviously, a big step up in class for him, but getting weight from all. No chance at all. Tom, you can't have him?
I don't fancy it, Dave. I don't fancy him at all. No, I don't think he's very good.
Fair enough. Brothers?
I mean, that's what more do you want?
It was difficult to give him any sort of real rating last time out because, as Tom said earlier, they all finished on top of each other in that race at Goodwood.
Yeah.
But then, I mean, I thought the race he won previously at Haydock was a bit of a lucky win as well because, like,
everything slipped on the bend, didn't it?
Yeah. Over.
Yeah.
But then he came out and won at Goodwood, so maybe he's just the sort of horse who's going to keep, you keep thinking, oh, he ain't any good, and then he keeps improving. But yeah, I
thought without Kyprios, the staying division, lacks a star, and this one stepping into Group Company for the first time. I thought he was of interest at an each-way price. I also think Point Lonsdale, as has been said, is just the best horse in the race. Broome won over 2 miles. It could be set up for him, and they're in such good form. And I thought the special 5-1 that he wins by more than the length wasn't the worst we've ever offered.
Okay, there you go.
Put it into context. I'll answer your question properly, Dave. I was joking a bit there. Put it into context. He beat Fairbanks. Did he ahead last time?
Yeah.
And he was getting a stone, and he's getting less weight off Point Lonsdale, Vauban, Gregory, Alsakib, and Fairbanks would be 150-1 probably to win this race. I know he's favourite, but he's rated 90 or something, 95. So it's asking a lot. He's got to improve a lot, I think, to win these. But as you say, he's a very well bred horse. He's a full brother to Al-Arzi. He'll like the fast ground, and he's getting better. So while I was being a bit facetious saying he's not very good, I don't think he's anywhere near as good as these ones yet. You're banking on him improving for the step up in trip and youth.
I would say you've done Fairbanks dirty a bit there. He's rated 102.
Is he?
And I actually think he's got... I mean, by this weekend, he could have won the Ebor, and we'll all be thinking, crikey.
It'd still be a good 50-1 shot to win this, wouldn't he?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, he still have to step up considerably. But OK, that's the Lonsdale Cup then. Plenty of opinions. Graeme appears to be having all of them at once. So let's move on to the Gimcrack, shall we? 6 furlong Group 2 for the juveniles here. Big Evs goes for the Nunthorpe. Big Mojo warms up proceedings here in the Gimcrack. He's 11-4 to follow up from his Goodwood victory. The Striking Viking ran a blinder at Goodwood as well. It was just chinned on the line at 4-1. Camille Pizarro is 5-1. Shadow of Light 11-2. Andesite 7s. K-Burn 7s. Billboard Star 18s. Cool Hoofed Luke at 20s. And then King's Call and Symbol of Strength line up in this as well. Yeah, Big Mojo, who, given that he's by Mahadha, probably shouldn't have been as good over 5 as he has been. So he could improve over 6. But the interesting thing for me in this race, Tom, I'm going to come to you first for this again. 2-year-old races is, I mean, we've seen some races involving these horses where the Striking Viking, Billboard Star, the sales race at Newbury, the race at Goodwood Amore City and Cool Hoof Luke, where you've looked at it and thought, ooh, they're quite good races. And then after a furlong, they've gone 5,000 miles an hour. And half these horses were involved in those speed burn-ups. So is this going to be run at a right old rattle?
Well, who knows? I don't know. I mean, Cool Hoof Luke likes to go forward. Billboard Star's gone forward. It could do. Andesite, I don't think it'll be far off the pace. The point about it is that the 2-year-old colts form over this sort of trip is all over the place, isn't it? We've had Maidens win the Coventry. We've had Maidens win the Moulcombe. We've had a Richmond Stake won by a horse that came from miles out. It's just all over the place, isn't it? So there's clearly no outstanding 6 furlong or any juvenile colt at the moment. I mean, the Lion in the Winter or whatever he was called looks pretty good. But
do you think with Whistle Jacket, he was beaten by Babouche, wasn't he? So
yeah, he's okay. I thought Rashabar should have beaten him the other day. I mean, I think he's probably the best one at the moment for me. I thought he should have won the Prix Mornay. So yeah, he's good, but he's not. He's been beaten what 2-3 times.
Yeah,
he's not brilliant, is he? He's not. You're not sitting there going, I'd be scared of running against Whistle Jacket. So it's all over the place. The Striking Viking was definitely a little bit unlucky at Goodwood. He did a lot too soon and got cut down late on. Camille Pissarro was pretty moderate in the Ascot race, wasn't he? The Coventry, but he bounced back last time. They dropped him right out. Went really hard with a horse called Treasure Island, dropped him right out, and he rattled home. Wonder whether York will be perfect for him and the way it's riding. Don't know.
Well, I also remember us saying that at Ascot, in particular, one thing we have been saying is that a lot of those Irish juvenile races weren't that good. That the British ones were a little bit better. I know Lion and Winter's obviously come out and bolted him in the Acomb, but that was the general. He's part of the mid-season new breed, isn't he? The earlier ones, a bit average.
Yeah, well, that's what it looks like. I mean, he obviously got close to Barbouche, which looks good form last time. Big Mojo, I was impressed with him at Goodwood, but 5 furlongs at Goodwood, 6 furlongs at York, not for me. The one I thought, well, there was 2 I liked. Andesite, who was backed off the boards to win the Coventry before he got injured the day before. He was down to a ridiculously short price, so he's obviously highly regarded. He obviously has to bounce back he's obviously had issues. So there's a bit of risk doing there. The one I like is K-Burn. I mean, he was double the price. It's probably a little bit my fault. Earlier in the day, but I think that the Super Sprint form is really good. The 3rd horse nearly won the Lowther, probably should have won the Lowther. The 4th horse was just touched off in the St Hughes listed race at Goodwood, Newbury last time. The runner-up sort of missed the break and was drawn on the wrong side. Was only beaten 4 lengths in the Moulcombe, 4 or 5 lengths in the Moulcombe, and I thought he did incredibly well to win K-Burn. He was giving weight to some good horses that day. The horse that was second in the Harry Eustace's horse that was second in the Lowther today, and I thought he did really well to win. He's won over 6 furlongs before. The time was good. I don't know if he wasn't trained by Jack Jones and he was trained by Aidan O'Brien or Charlie Appleby. I think he'd be nearly favourite, K-Burn, in my opinion. And I thought he was a massive price at 14-1. I think he's about the right price now. I think he's got as good a form as any of them, really.
Okay, there we go. K-Burn is a 7-1 shot with Andesite then. What about you, Graeme Rodway? Anything stood out?
I thought the Striking Viking would run really well. I mean, Tom already said that he did far too much too soon at Goodwood. The two who finished alongside him both came from a long way back, and he did best of those who raced prominently. He's obviously won at the course, hasn't he, over course and distance, when he was trained by Kevin Ryan. Now, I get the point that he doesn't look anything outstanding, but he might well be good enough to win this. I also think it's interesting, he went to this guy, Hamad Al-Jahani, didn't he? And went off favourite for the Richmond last time. Now, he's had a few that have been sort of taken out of other yards and went to him that have run well first time up for him, but got beaten when they were expected to win. I just wonder if maybe they, are going to come on for that first run for the yard. Well, that's what I'm hoping anyway. Big Mojo is going to improve going up to 6, would you say?
I mean, yeah, on pedigree, yeah. Mahada, obviously, I think he won the Horace Hill, didn't he? But you were still looking at his 2-year-olds and thinking, okay. And there's a couple that him and Without Parole have actually done quite well early on, I thought. So there were only the ones that have been winning now, I thought would only improve as they go up further throughout the season. And obviously, he rattled home, didn't he, to win quite nicely. It's good form, that Goodwood form, isn't it? Obviously, Celandine's giving it a boost.
Yes, and horses that are going up and got quite a good record in this race, I think, recently. We know that York's a real speed track, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
drawn in 2.
Drawn in 2, far side. Yeah, you could see him improving, couldn't you, going up to 6? But I just thought it was worth giving the Striking Viking another chance.
Okay. That was my question for you, Rodders. Are you happy with stall 10 for Striking Viking?
Well,
I'm not a great draw, man. You'd be more on that than me, but you wouldn't choose that, would you?
No, it's not been ideal, has it, all week? Far side's been the place to be, but I don't like to get too bogged down in it, just because I've seen it happen in the past where you absolutely are certain that one way's going to be right, and then suddenly the last 2 days it switches. You see it all the time at Ascot, Royal Ascot, one side, one favoured one day, one side. I don't know why that is. Maybe they get the ground chewed up on that side. So I tend to ignore it, if I'm honest, Tom. But I'll give him a chance of Striking Viking to make all.
Last 10 years in the Gimcrack, well, last 9 years in the Gimcrack, the widest stall has won 3 out of 9, and the inside stall has won zilch and has only placed once. So maybe it's this time of like you said, the first 2 days.
Probably depends on ground as well, doesn't it? Like when it goes soft, do they not come up more than the stand side? And who knows how much rain there's going to be? I mean, I looked at some forecasts. Some said 8, some said 10 mils. Whether that will have a great effect or not, who knows? I mean, it was really quick there yesterday, wasn't it? With course records going all over the place. So I don't know what the grounds will be like either, to be honest.
Okay. Quick shout out for Billboard Star as well. You thought the Striking Viking did too much, then bloody hell, he did way too much, didn't he?
Same race.
He's 22 on, albeit he is only the second or the third gelding. I think they were in the Gimcrack in the past 25 years. Bit of an odd. We don't want a gelding winning the Gimcrack, do we? Oh dear. But anyway.
That is good research, Ross. That is good research. You've done a lot. Those long train journeys to Leeds must just fly.
Well, I'm staying down in London this week, so it's more walking around the. I'm like an old-fashioned philosopher from the 1800s, walking around the park, going, "Oh, I wonder how many geldings have won the Gimcrack." So
you don't get. When you're sitting in the coffee shop slurping on your 14th latte, I bet everyone's looking at you like the weirdo. Look at that guy, he's finding out who's the last gelding to run in the Gimcrack.
Yeah, just cackling to myself about geldings. Another long black, please. Anyway, speaking of geldings, David Stevens, the Gimcrack. I couldn't help it. I couldn't resist. The Gimcrack this year, it's wide open by the sounds of things.
It really is wide open, isn't it? Yeah, the pleasure of doing the speech in whenever it is December could go to any of these. I think Big Mojo looked really good at Goodwood, bit of substance to the form, and should get the extra furlong okay. I think he's a very worthy favourite. Camille Pissarro can't be dismissed because of who he's trained by, and the Babouche, obviously, form has come out. That one's won the Phoenix. And Tom's already made the case for Caburn. Again, bit of substance to that super sprint form. Yeah, I think this looks really, really tricky. But Big Mojo coming out of stall 2, just got Camille Pissarro next to him coming out of 1. I think they could be the 2. But we have another price boost here. Obviously, a huge day for Mick Appleby. He had a brilliant, glorious Goodwood. He's got Big Mojo and Big Evs going. Both of those horses to be placed in the first 3 was 5-2, is 100-30.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Stevens. Shout out. What else have we got? Camille Pizarro for Disney account. Shadow of Light is Robert Ballard's banker. And Sean Mack is on 8-1 anti-post for Big Mojo. In which case, yeah, well, from the 8-1, we'd all have a go, wouldn't we? But good luck with that. Right, you thought the Gimcrack was going to be fast. Well, here we go. We've got the Nunthorpe. And Asforum, Big Evs have already taken each other on twice this year. It's one apiece. Asforum is 7-4. Big Evs is 5-1. There's been a bit of money for Bradsell, who's also 5-1. Believing is 8s. Regional 9s. Living the Dream 10s. Starless 12s. Washington Heights is 20-1. But there's loads of them lining up to have a cracker. Azure Blue loves the track. Makarova runs in all of these. Clarendon House is a course specialist. Pontos drawn in box 1. Certainly be the fastest horse over 4 furlongs. Anyway, Frost at Dawn, last seen in Maiden, and the outsider is a 90 rated Irish raider called So Majestic. But given some of the results in the Nunthorpe over the years, I wouldn't entirely rule out that one. Wouldn't entirely rule out anything running well in this. It's certainly not a race where I want to be back in a 7-4 shot, that's for sure. We've had 28-1 Living the Dream, of course, win this. Winter Power win it at 9s, and Alpha Delphini at 40s, and you can go back to your Margot Dids and various other horses as well have won this in their time. Yeah, it's the Ascot and the Goodwood sprints again. Are we drawing a line in the season here, and then you get to your York and your Haydocks? Because it feels like the sprint form in particular, you've got your early season stuff, and then the Nunthorpe's a completely different race, and then Haydocks a completely different race as well.
Yeah, it can be a bit like that, can't it? Yeah, some years, but then other years you get a dominant one, don't you? So we'll find out here. I mean, Asfora's obviously got a £6 pull, hasn't she, with Big Evs for the short head, was it, at Goodwood?
Yep.
So you would think that she will reverse those places and is obviously the one to beat. But there's lots of good horses in this, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean Bradsell's the really interesting one. There's obviously 19 days after an absence, there's a bit of a bounce factor, but he ran an absolute blinder in this last year.
Yeah, I backed him in this last year, yeah. And I was a bit disappointed not to pick up because, yeah, he won his race, didn't he, in his group. He was on Moorstand side, wasn't he, and Living the Dream blistered away. They probably weren't expecting Living the Dream to do what he did. He got so far clear, he was just...
who was, let's be honest.
Well, yeah, I don't think he'll be doing that again this year, do you, Living the Dream? He hasn't looked quite the same to me this season.
No, but I mean, the only thing is York horses. That's the only thing, isn't it? Box 5 again. He was I don't know. It was a bit.
I wouldn't rule it out, Rodders. I think he hates Goodwood. He hates downhill tracks. I thought he ran fine the other day.
Yeah, I thought again it was a perfectly creditable run. Like you said, horses for courses everywhere, but particularly at York. And like you said, you've got your Bradsells and your Living the Dreams who love the track, Tom. I presume he's shortened up a little bit. Have you put him up in the paper or?
Who, Bradsell?
No, Living the Dream or anything.
I had to post him a few weeks ago. I like Bradsell today. I just thought last year, like you talked about, I mean, I backed him and tipped him last year, Bradsell, and I just thought he was unlucky, just in the wrong part of the track. Once again, Living the Dream's in there in 5, is he? And Pontos is in 1. So that's where the pace is going to be. I hate doing it. I hate thinking that the pace is going to be on one side and then they all win up the other side. So I'm not one who really believes in pace and draws, but there's a lot of wind forecast for tomorrow, and if it's the same sort of direction it has been, it's going to be hard to come from behind and pick these sprinters up. I think these really fast ones. I think Big Evs will keep on drifting. I think Believing, who I thought had a chance, might just not have conditions as she'd like them. So I don't know. I thought Bradsell was the obvious one, just simply because he was drawn next to Living the Dream this time, and not away from him. And I could give Washington Heights a shout because he just likes York.
He does, yeah. He's he's your pace angle from slightly higher, isn't he? In box 10.
Isn't it, Ross? Those 6 furlong races against Living the Dream, they'll be going a lot faster than Washington Heights ever has. But he might be quick enough to do it. Yeah, I mean, again, it's a very Highfield Princess kind of scenario with him, isn't it? After a furlong, he's either got no chance or a right chance, depending on where he sits. I mean, there's some really, really fast horse. I mean, again, Pontos at Goodwood, after 2 or 3 furlongs, was about, there's been a couple of times this year this horse has been clear after 2 or 3 furlongs. Mikel Barcelona's 2 from 2 on him as well. I'm not necessarily, I'm not saying he's going to win,
but he's drawn in box 1. He's, like I said, Barcelona will hold on to him a lot longer. I could see him absolutely rattling off in front. Clarendon House also has cracking early pace and proper York form as well. It's just one of those races. It can throw up a ridiculous result.
Yeah, it can. Yeah, and it did last year, of course. I fancy Regional.
Yeah, okay.
Another one.
Rodders, can I just stop for a sec? On the TV today, they were saying Regional might not run.
Oh yeah, why is that?
I don't know. I only picked it up on the backwash when they were talking about Ed Bethel being really unlucky, and he hoped some horse won because Regional had an issue or something. Now that people might be able to correct me on that, but I just thought you better get that out.
Ed Bethel. Sorry, Tom. Ed Bethel was interviewed about a runner he had, and he went on to be asked about that. He said, "Looks unlikely, scoped badly today." So bear that in mind.
Well, I won't make my case for Regional.
No.
Then Ross.
He'll be
still in the race
at
the moment, isn't he? So
He's looked faster this year to me anyway. Regional. I mean, he was blistering fast at the Curragh, got caught close home. He was blistering fast at Ascot, got caught by S4. He didn't look fast enough for this race last year, but I just wonder if another year he's a little bit quicker.
Yeah, well, we've seen it before. Like I said, like we were saying it before. But Cardam and Dream of Dreams, that sprinters. Glen Shield.
It doesn't sound like he's going to run, in which case I would probably have a small bet on Believing, who of course was behind Big Evs and as for last time, is another really fast horse, and Ryan Moore's riding obviously at the top of his game, but he is on the other side to all the pace, isn't he, out in 13?
Yeah.
And supposedly all the pace on the far side. But I mean, I fancy Regional if he runs, but it doesn't sound like he's going to.
Okay, fair enough. I guess, I mean, you've got Big Evs one side, haven't you? You've got Pontos the other. So the winner will come down the middle, probably. But, okay, so, but you've put Brad Sell up anti-post then, Tom?
No, I put Living the Dream up anti-post, and I put Brad Sell up today. All right, back Brad Sell today.
Okay, fair enough. What else have we got? Anyone else? Asfora hacks up after Pontos and Living the Dream beat each other, says Loch Ranza. And Regional being pulled out. There we go.
Does that happen at York though? Like where horses beat each other over 5 furlongs? Like it's just such a fast track.
Yeah.
You can almost I know that if you go too fast, you're going to stop in any race. But at York, over 5 furlongs. Can you go too fast at York over 5 furlongs so you cut each other's throats and they come from behind? Well, I don't see it very often there.
Well, we've seen it this week. I mean, Star of Lady M sat on the heels of a horse who went off too quick and won by half the track. I mean, I thought that Democracy Dilemma race, this horse is so fast, he'll fade out. He'll go fast and finish out the frame over 5.5, and he still held on and all the speed held up. Yeah. So, you're right. I mean, again, it's that first furlong is absolutely crucial because you can put a line through half the field after that first furlong. So
I've just seen so many races at York where I think, God, there's a million front runners in this. Yeah. You've got to be backing someone that comes from behind, and then the thing from behind, they just, they don't get into it.
No, and everyone else goes, bloody hell, we're beat already. Okay,
Sorry, that's the same in every race, isn't it? I think as soon as you start thinking, there's loads of pace here. You're asking, you're making a lot of your rod for your own back, I think. You just actually don't know what's going to happen.
You're right. Yeah.
Lethal Levi was a good example on Saturday, wasn't he, at Newbury? We all sat there and looked at that Lethal Levi race. Thought there's a bunch of pace in it, and Lethal Levi makes all.
Yeah, I mean, again, City of Troy is the most obvious one this week, isn't it? Every other jockey in the race went, completely taken by surprise by this happening. So, quite frankly, if the boys and girls riding in the race don't know about the pace after they've jumped off, it's hard enough for us the night before. David Stevens then, the Nunthorpe Stakes. As for we've talked about all this. We've talked about this got a chance, that's got a chance. Nunthorpe throws up surprise winners. We've got a 7-4 shot here.
Yeah, and she's run really well on her 3 starts since she came over here. She had the sort of pipe opener at Haydock, then won at Ascot, and didn't get things going her way at Goodwood, and she's much better off with the horse that beat her that day. It'd be no surprise all to see her bang in the mix again. The 5-2 price boost I thought was not a bad price, but I thought Living the Dream hasn't run as badly as his bare form figures suggest this year. And talk about York being a horses for courses course, and multiple winners of this race are not unusual. Mecca's Angel, there are others that I can't think of, but I thought Living the Dream with the 4 places each way, still at double figure odds, was coming out of stall 5. Was possibly the each way play, but it's another wide open contest.
I think it's also, I mean, we should probably quickly mention Azure Blue as well, who's run out once over 5 furlongs, and she won last time out. She's got course form over 6. And Starlust as well is a proper course horse as well, isn't he? And he wasn't that far behind Big Ev. So, yeah, it's a right old lineup, but we've got a short price favourite in the shape of Asphora. And, that's about it. That's on the chat. Okay, tomorrow's feature then. Fast and Furious, and probably will end up being furious. Right, moving on to the 410 tomorrow then, which is not that race, but how much?
Can I have some 1 to 8?
I don't know. Can we back Nakiel each way? I quite fancy a bit of Nakiel each way there. Sneaking into the frame at 100s. But 10.5 furlongs the distance for the Fillies Handicap tomorrow. David, could you give us the prices for the 410 at York tomorrow? Oh no, there we go.
There we go. 5 to 1.
Read them out off the screen for us, will you, David?
5 to 1 joint favourites, Power of Destiny and Reach. 6 to 1 Alan Nude. 8 to 1 Battle Queen. 17 to 2 Carmology. 9 to 1 or bigger the rest.
Thank you very much. What an absolute professional you are. 5 to 1 joint favourites, then Power of Destiny and Reach. And again, another interesting race here. But you've got some proper York specialists in here, in particular Reach, who's absolutely loves the track. Joanna Mason gets on really well. 3 from 4 on fast ground. She'd have a cracking chance. Alan Nude, potentially well drawn. Won at Goodwood nicely as well. And a few others in there like Invisible Friend, and surely Carmology won't run after today's big run, but you never know. Stranger things that have happened. But again, we don't want to get too much into this, that, and the t'other, Graeme. But the draw might switch on the straight track. But past few years, this has been a big draw race to the low numbers, and we've got a favourite in Power of Destiny who's drawn in double figures.
Yeah, it can, and it can be over that trip, can't it? The John Smith's Cup is was a famous draw race, and suddenly started all coming wide, and now I think we're back, aren't we, to the inside again there? In that race.
it was still a draw race this year, wasn't it? So it came wide, and all the low draws still won.
Fair enough. Anyway, I like Our Nude. Having talked about Scenic, this horse gave Our Nude gave Scenic £7, I think, in a beating last year, and is just steadily progressive this season. It was a bit of a bunch finish, and she was nicely placed last time at Goodwood, but she's only gone up £2 in the weight. She's a half sister to Al Hakim, who was 4th in the Arc, I think, and we saw earlier in the year, didn't we, one of these in this ownership. Well-bred horse. Doha, win the Britannia. That was by Trev, out of Trev, wasn't it? And this one's, a half-sister to Al Hakim, who was 4th in the Arc. So a mark of 91, is it? Yeah. I think that's workable. So I'm with Al Nude.
Okay, Alan Nude then is a 6 to 1 shot for Rafe Beckett and Hector Crouch. I think I had one really good result in this meeting last year with Reach, though, Tom. I'm probably going in again with her. She just... I mean, assuming it hasn't rained or doesn't rain too much, it's just absolutely perfect conditions for her tomorrow.
Yeah, and she ran really... I like Reach too. Yeah, she ran really well in the soft ground last time here as well. So maybe she's not quite as ground... she was 3rd to Ron O, who's a massive improver this season. So I don't think she's out of it even on that form, even if it does rain. Yeah, I think she's got a chance. I mean, talking about the draw... Even you just have to watch the Clipper Logistics today. I mean, the low numbers, anything drawn high had no chance getting. They just never got in the race. Now that was probably due to the way they didn't go that fast. They allowed them up front, and then you see later races where they go absolutely bonkers, and it allows the ones to come over the top. So it's the pace knife edge again, isn't it? You just got to hope that if you're on one drawn high, and all week I've thought Chorus had a massive chance. But from 17, you just got to hope they go too hard, because if they don't go too hard, you got no chance. And so it's really tricky. It's these big handicaps at these big meetings. They're very, very pace dependent, and you've just got to be on the right side of the pace bias. Here, I couldn't see too many front runners. There was quite a few stepping up in trip. I thought Battle Queen was quite interesting on her 6th in the Britannia, but she's got to step up in trip. I thought maybe Shamozzle might go forward, and maybe Invisible Friend. I quite like Invisible Friend running well. just because might be a 5-year-old, but she's completely unexposed and she goes very well fresh. She won here last time, won by a couple of lengths. The horse that she beat didn't look very good at the time, but is now rated about 7 or 8 pounds higher. I just thought Kevin Ryan would have kept her back for this. She's by See the Stars, like Reach. I think they love fast ground, so I'd give her a chance. Alanude's got the pedigree. Thought she was, in terms of rides at Goodwood, I thought she got one of the best ones. Because I thought she was pretty lucky to win. But there's more to come from her because she's unexposed too. And I didn't actually think she ran up to her form and still won at Goodwood last time. So I'd give her a chance. But I actually think if the price has gone on Reach, then maybe Invisible Friend's got a chance.
Yeah.
For Kevin Ryan.
Yeah, you're right. There's probably not. I mean, to be fair, they only pace. I thought, like you said, the 2 Beckett horses, Schmozzle might track across, and Alanude might sit on the heels here. Probably worth mentioning just 2 more. Battle Queen stepping up in trip, and also, if it is a draw race, and even if it isn't a draw race, to be fair, Canoodled was a little bit interesting. I thought Ed Walker's had a really good day. She had no chance at Ascot. She was held up and raced it quick enough the front. She switched to the middle, but. Yeah,
it's a big thing with her, isn't it, Ross? She's never run over this trip, and she's 6-year-old now. She's coming up in trip. It might be what she wants, and if it is, I mean, she's a miler. She's all her forms over a mile and less. Isn't it? I don't think she's ever run over this trip.
And I mean, the family are all over the shop as well. You've got 6 furlong horses, a mile and a half horses, so could go either way.
Yeah. I mean, she's big enough price to take a chance at, isn't she? She's well drawn, and she's well handicapped now.
On the chat, Chorus nicely bred, but not sure about Doyle from that draw. So Stevens 99. Philip Clayton likes Alanude and Chorus, and at a huge price, but Zarabanda could shock everyone. And Disney account Reach at 5-1 with 5 places played. Money back bet each way. Yeah, it almost looks too obvious, doesn't it, at David Stevens? But are you 5 places? Got an extra place on this?
We are 5 places each way on this one. Canoodled, you mentioned there is a 25-1 shot. I like the 2 from the Goodwood race, Alanude and Power of Destiny. I think there could be more to come from both. Alanude drawn in 4 for me just gives her the edge over Power of Destiny coming out of stall 10.
Okay, thank you very much. 2 more then at York on the penultimate day of the Ebor meeting. The richest maiden in town up next, the Convivial, 7 furlongs the distance for the juveniles here. Just the £51,540 to the winner. And it always attracts a big field. We've got a maximum of 20 this year, and Angelo Buonarroti 5-2, the favourite. Ultra Soul 7-2, Whirl 5-1, Realign 6-1, Whitechapel Road 11, Spirit of Summer 11s, Shah 12s, Bambalam is 12-1 as well, and it is bigger prices the rest. But even those at bigger prices, a couple have run quite well, including Bowen Island for Kevin Ryan, who I thought ran quite well in that Haydock race last time out. But Angelo Buonarroti, otherwise known as Michelangelo, his supporters will be on the ceiling if this one wins, I tell you. He was he ran an absolute blinder, didn't he, Tom, on debut. He was thrown right into the deep end in the Coventry, a race which, as we've said, progressively over the past few weeks has looked better and better and better. Bred to improve for the trip as well. I mean, 20 runners, 50 grand on the table. It's a race which pretty much the first 10 home always go on to have a decent career, but a pretty solid favourite.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he cost £1 million, didn't he, from the breeze up? So while he was having his course debut there, he'd probably done a lot of work, speed work before that. So how much he'll come on, I presume a fair bit. He'll definitely like the step up in trip, wouldn't he? He's by Justify out of a Galileo mare. So to be able to, to cost £1 million as a 2-year-old from the breeze ups, he must have done it. They basically buy him on time. So he's obviously very quick. He's clearly got a chance. Nice drawing 6. I like Ultra Soul just a little bit better. I know he's been well back today, but I like that Yarmouth form. The winner's running in the Gimcrack, the third's one, the fourth's one, something else down the back's one. I just think it's really good form, and if you watch the race, he was sort of on the wide outside, trapped away with them, got sort of a little bit left behind, and then finished really well over 6. 7's going to suit him down to the ground. It's by Kingman, out of a mare that might have won the French Guineas. I think she won the French Guineas, or the French Jokes Channel, she was called. And I think he is pretty good, Ultra Soul. So he'd be my choice over Angelo Buonarroti. But as you can imagine, I think there's loads of good horses in here. Must mention Richard Fahey's horse, Bambalam. He's by a first season sire Persian King who won the French Guineas, second in the French Derby, I think. Or might have won the French Derby and second in the French Guineas. One of those the other way. Could be the other way around, but it cost a lot from the Breeze Ups too. He cost 600,000, I think. And he obviously, I'm pretty sure he goes pretty well too. So he'd be the newcomer to watch for me. But I think it will be fought out between the horses with a bit of previous form, and the two with the best ones are at the top: Angelo Buonarroti and Ultrasol.
Okay, Channel won the 2019 French Oaks, to be specific. There's one the big eye catcher from Goodwood. I thought was Whitechapel Road. I thought he ran a bit of a cracker. He looked like he was going nowhere with a furlong to go and shot home. And I think that'd have been 7 furlongs. He'd have beaten Jouncey and. Not bad form that, but he could be interested in 11-1. Anything caught your eye, Mr. Rodway? Not your. When you're doing stayers. You're not looking at
juvenile
7 furlong maidens.
Yeah, I mean, I always just have a quick look, see which trainers sort of tend to target this race. But there's loads of them in here. Like Aidan O'Brien won it last year, didn't he, with Battle Cry? I think he might have won it with Stravinsky a long time ago. Balding's had a winner in it. Burke, Varian, Haggis. They've all got runners.
The usual suspects.
All the usual suspects. However, Kevin Reiner usually runs a good juvenile at York, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm.
I remember having Adam Ryan in the studio once, and he said we could run the stable cat at York in a golf favourite first time out, as everyone just knows he likes a winner there. I thought Bowen Island could run well. He's had a couple of runs, got a bit of experience, showed loads of pace last time out despite hanging left. The third's one since from that race at Newcastle. I think it will go to horse with experience. It wouldn't surprise me if any of those who have run won. So as a result, 25-1, I think Coral's Bowen Island. I'd probably back him each way, but impossible race, isn't it?
Yeah, but one to follow for the next 12 months.
Probably be like, how many winners are going to come out of this?
Well, I'd look last year. The first 7 home all won in the next few months.
I mean, it's a hotbed for future stars, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is indeed. Okay, 4 places. Luckily, Mr. Stevens.
Yes, 4 places each way. Look, it's worth a pot of money, so it's attracted a big field, unsurprisingly. Sticking with the ones that have got a bit of form. Arabian Angel of Carl Burke, as Graeme has said, a previous winner of this race, finished behind a horse that ran okay in the Acomb earlier in the week, and that was on good to firm, so won't mind if it stays quick.
Okay, thank you very much. Last race then at York tomorrow is a mile handicap for 3-year-olds again. Big field here, 19 of them running. Dosman 9-2 favourite here. Midnight Gun 5's Mount Tidy is 6-1. Paboris 15-2 with Native Warrior. Treasure Time is 9-1. EBT's Guard 11-1. Tokenomics is 12-1 and Bigger Rest again. Loads of horses who've run well either at this track or in festivals this year. A few horses have run badly at festivals this year. Actually, I thought could be interesting at bigger prices, but some real exposed, potentially exciting types here at the top of the betting. Handicap debutant Dosman is the 9-2 narrow favourite. They've already got a mark of 97, despite only running in maidens and novice company so far. It's a fair old whack, but to be fair, he's been keeping some warm company, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has been keeping up company in novice races, hasn't he? And he's open to loads of improvement. But you could say that about loads of these, couldn't you? In here, I mean, it's another race with some really exciting 3-year-olds in the lineup. I have been following Midnight Gun for a little while, and I fancied him last time at Goodwood. I thought he ran really well in a race that probably didn't set up ideally for him. Yeah. It's another one for my theory of like he came from someone else, didn't he, and then went to this guy, Hamed El Jahani, had his first run there at Goodwood last time. Just wonder if maybe he might have needed that first run for the stable and will come on for it. Well, that's
travelled really well as well, didn't he, over that 10 furlong trip.
That's the angle that I'm playing this week anyway, with Striking Viking as well, hoping that these Al Jahani horses will take a step forward for that first run for the yard. So Midnight Gun is the one that I like, but there's loads you can make a case for. It's a real exciting race, like the previous race, isn't it? But, this is going to be another race. We're going to see loads of future handicap winners come out of it. Yeah,
you'd imagine so. Albeit, again, big field over the mile. Again, big field over the mile today, Tom. You want it to be fairly prominent and drawn low. Is it going to be another wide open / not wide open after a furlong race?
As I say, it could be. I mean, you watched the last race today, didn't you? And you sort of they sort of flew down the outside, didn't they, and picked up the leader close home. What's to say, Ross? I'm very boring when it gets to this, but it's all about the pace, isn't it? If they go too hard, you can win. If they go too slow, I think they'll go hard here. So I wouldn't be as worried about the draw as I have been in other races, because it's like a mini Britannia, isn't it? It's an absolute cracking race, this. It's an absolute, it's just great. There's so many in there. I mean, Dosman, earlier in the week when he was 12-1, was interesting because the form of his third at Newmarket last time, it's like gangbusters. It's worked out so well. The winner won a group race in France. He was giving him £7. He's bred to be very good, isn't he? He's another Viking winner, top two of Vikingman, actually. I thought Native Warrior was a big eye catcher at Ascot. Treasure Time has been unlucky a couple of times. EBT's Garden. Tokenomics has taken off the last twice and come from miles back and might need a little bit softer ground. I thought it was just about the most competitive race of the whole week so far. Trying to find the winner is going to depend on a good deal of luck. I might just side on Native Warrior because I think you can forgive him his last run. But Dosman is dangerous. He could easily be group caliber, as could loads of them. And as for EBT's Guard, he's my cliff horse this year. I think he's won once, but every time I back him, something goes wrong. Nearly knocked over at Ascot. He got a terrible run at Goodwood, as is his one. So he'll probably come back to haunt me here. But maybe Native Warrior. But I think I'm really looking forward to it. I might be late for the show tomorrow night because I'll be watching this one back 4 times.
All right, yeah. I mean, EBT's Guard in the back of my mind, he's going to be one of those Lincoln Spring Mile Hunt Cup horses last year. He loves these, and he just needs to wait for him to drop right. I mean, he's a bit of a not so connections, but a bless him, isn't he? Like you're just waiting for the things to drop right. I mean, a couple I thought were interesting. One slightly heart as well as head, and that's Treasure Time. I hope Ray Share do get a big winner at York, but he got smashed to bits at Goodwood, didn't he? He got beat by a good horse at Newmarket. He will be on the speed. Box 1 not won this race. They've had 11 run-ins of this race, but has placed in 7 of those 11. So if he can be prominent from that Box 1, I think he's got a chance. The one is a very big price. What price is Volterra here, David? Because this horse, was Antipo's favourite for the Britannia. Quite fancied him, really. He absolutely dotted up at Newmarket, beat some nice types. He's been really disappointing twice since, but he was 4th in last year's Convivial, drawn 5, Kevin Ryan, Tom Eves. He's gone from being 5-1 Antipo's favourite for Britannia to being double figures here.
Yeah, he's a 12-1 shot with 5 places each way. You fancy a bit of that?
Okay. What are you fancying this?
I was going to keep it very simple. The favourite, Tom's alluded to it, the form of his Newmarket third, Ombudsman was the horse that absolutely dotted up over in Deauville. I'm trying to think what the Godolphin horse, Arabian, something or other, was second. It just looks rock solid form. He's not been missed by the handicapper, obviously, but I'd be amazed if there isn't a race of this calibre in Dosman.
Okay, thank you very much. As for us on the chat, Trevor Clark says Voltaire better the day tomorrow, so we're singing from the same hymn sheet there. Ryan Gled, I think Paboris could win from the front for Ed Bethel. Definitely sounds Paboris very fast. And apart from that, that's pretty much it for tomorrow's final race. So tell you what, let's have an ad and then the naps.
We're into the final bend of the Coral Fan Derby, where racing lovers of the UK are in a spectacular contest. And what's this? He's shaking his phone like it's a pocket-sized maraca. They're all getting rewards now. He's shaking it, she's shaking it, they're all shaking it. Play the free Coral Reward Shaker to win guaranteed daily rewards and offers. Coral, we're here for it.
Best bet of the day then on Nunthorpe Day at York, starting off with the man to my left, Mr. Graeme Rodway.
I'm going to go for the striking Viking. For Hamed El Jahani. I think it could be his day tomorrow, Ross. 3 o'clock, York.
All right, and before you had a shave, you were almost a striking Viking yourself. Tom Segal, best bet for you?
It was going to be in the same race, so I'll go for something different. I will go for Ultra Soul in the Maiden. I like that horse a lot. I think he's going to be a Guineas horse next year, so Ultra Soul for me.
Okay. David Stevens, best bet for you?
I will go for Dosman in the last race that we just previewed.
Okay, thank you very much. And I'll go for Al Sakib to beat Point Lonsdale in the Lonsdale Cup after that York win last time out. And hopefully he'll set it up for potentially a good day on Saturday for Andrew Balding. He's got a big fancy in the Ebor, but who hasn't, quite frankly? The usual massive field in the big race. We'll be previewing that tomorrow night at 6 p.m, so we'll see you there. And if you haven't already, like it. Go on, give that stream a like. Go on, you know you want to.